Tantor Audio presents Ever After by K.M. Scott. Narrated by Veronica Meunch and Christian Fox. Chapter 1. Nina. A crashing noise in the kitchen woke me from the nap I'd slipped into, and I sat bolt upright in bed, disoriented and my heart pounding hard against my chest. Looking around, I tried to determine what time it was. The sun was still up, so I couldn't have slept very long. Or had I slept all night and it was already morning of the next day? I had no memory of Tristan coming to bed, but that didn't mean I couldn't have slept all night. With his work at Stone Worldwide intensifying since our return from our honeymoon, he was often up before the crack of dawn after coming to bed after midnight. My thoughts racing, I shook the sleep from my mind and swung my legs off the bed. Standing up, my legs buckled and everything around me swirled into a blur. Before I knew it, I was on the floor in a groggy heap. This was either the worst wake-up ever, or I was having some incredibly realistic nightmare complete with throbbing pain in my right elbow that brought tears to my eyes. Either way, I needed to get up to see what or who was going on in my kitchen. I lifted myself up to a sitting position to see Tristan standing in the doorway with a look of horror on his face.
"What happened?"
he asked as he stepped into the room to kneel down next to me.
"Did you trip?"
Shaking my head, I reached over to rub my aching arm. No, I heard a noise that woke me up, and when I went to see what happened, my legs gave out and I landed right on my elbow. Ouch. Tristan knitted his brows and frowned.
"This is the second time this week you've had an accident. We need to get you to the doctor, Nina."
I held onto his forearm as he lifted me up onto my feet, feeling foolish that I'd been so clumsy twice in 1 week. Smoothing my white cotton skirt down over my thighs, I looked up into Tristan's still worried eyes and smiled, hoping to ease his mind. "There's nothing wrong, honey. I just got up too quickly before I was fully awake. No big deal."
"Are you sure?"
To be honest, I wasn't sure. I'd felt run down for weeks. I hadn't napped this much since I was a child. And even with sneaking extra sleep time, I still felt tired all the time. Instead of worrying Tristan, I'd told Jordan, who had tried to be helpful by suggesting I check out some medical site online. Boy, was that a mistake. Within the first hour, I'd convinced myself I had any number of diseases, including malaria, some variant of the Black Plague, and Lyme disease. Even worse, I'd stumbled onto a page dedicated to leukemia, and one of the first symptoms listed was unexplained fatigue. Nothing like having your heart stop cold for a moment as the possibility that you're dying from the same disease your mother succumbed to weaves its way into your brain. I was so stressed out after reading that I couldn't go to sleep all night. I told myself over and over that I was being foolish, and Jordan had scolded me about taking what I read online with a grain of salt. Since then, I'd tried to put it out of my mind. But every day I felt exhausted, and that tiny niggle of worry sitting in the back of my mind had mushroomed into full-blown fear. I knew it was wrong to keep all of this from Tristan. He was my husband, and I didn't doubt for a second that he'd want to do whatever it took to take care of me. I just couldn't face the reality that after finally finding complete and utter happiness with the man of my dreams, it would all be taken away. Just like it had been for my mother. Standing on my toes, I placed a tiny kiss on the tip of Tristan's nose and gave him my sweetest smile. "I'm fine. No need to worry. So what did you do in the kitchen to make all that noise?" Tristan raised his eyebrows in fake surprise.
"What makes you think I did anything?"
I folded my arms and shook my head. "I doubt it was Maria making all that racket. Unless you hired someone else without telling me, which would be really uncool since that would probably scare the hell out of me when I ran into them and thought the house was being robbed. There's no one else here but us. Since I was busy examining the inside of my eyelids, that leaves you to blame for whatever happened. So fess up."
"It was nothing. I was just checking the pantry to make sure we had Jiffy Pop. I thought a nice night in watching movies would be just what we need since I've been working day and night since we got back from our honeymoon. By the way, we're out of Jiffy Pop, but there's more than enough pie filling in tomato soup."
"Nothing like an avalanche of canned goods coming down on top of you," I said with a laugh. Tristan winced and rubbed the top of his head.
"I'm just happy the Jiffy Pop wasn't next to the huge container of olive oil. I might have knocked myself out."
I laughed out loud. "I can only imagine me finding you lying on the floor of the pantry covered in oil. Definitely not your usual look."
"So what do you say to me picking up a pizza and some popcorn, and the two of us making a night of it? I might even agree to some chick flick."
"Bridget Jones?" A look of pain crossed his face, but he quickly tried to hide it with a sexy grin.
"It's a deal, but only if I get at least one superhero movie. Maybe two, since that Bridget Jones stuff really puts me in danger in losing my man card. This might even require a Clint Eastwood."
"Clint Eastwood? That seems a bit much, doesn't it?" I joked, secretly fine with the Dirty Harry flick, but not wanting Tristan to find out. If he did, our movie nights would turn into one long cop and bad guy fest. "I'll agree to Clint if we watch Bridget first. Deal?"
"Deal. I'll be stopping by the liquor store while I'm out. Bridget and I require more of the good stuff. Want me to pick you up the makings of your chocolate cake martini?"
"Sure. I haven't had a martini since we got back, so I think one would be good tonight. But we need some birch beer for the pizza, so don't forget to grab that at Tony's." Tristan kissed me gently and pulled me close.
"Got it."
He was quiet for a long moment, and then he finally said,
"By the way, did I tell you how much I love you today?"
I slid my hands around him and grabbed his ass. I think our time in the shower this morning included something about that, but I never get tired of hearing it. He leaned away from me and, cradling my face, tilted my head back. Looking down at me with those gorgeous brown eyes, he licked his lips, and a sly grin slid across his mouth.
"I enjoyed that. Maybe we should make that a daily event. And by the way, I love you even more today, Mrs. Stone."
I felt myself begin to get weak again, so quickly I said, "Me too, Mr. Stone. All this talk about food has gotten me hungry, so let's get that pizza and get this movie party started." He kissed me, and my stomach did that flipping thing it always did when his lips touched mine. Even now, as we stood there as a married couple used to each other, he had that effect on me. At least I hoped it was that and not some horrible disease slowly sapping the life from me. Pulling away, he whispered next to my ear,
"Your wish is my command, my lady. I'll be back in a few. Feel free to begin Bridget Jones before I get back."
I looked up and saw his smile telling me how much he really didn't want to sit through one of my chick flicks. That he would, and be so cute about it, meant a lot to me. And miss a moment of our movie time together? No way. Tristan's heavy breathing behind me signaled he was fast asleep, so I pressed stop on the remote and curled up against his chest. A light sleeper, most nights he really only dozed, but these days he barely did that. Wrapping his arms around me, he squeezed me tightly to him and murmured,
"Did I miss Bridget?"
I hugged him and laughed at his joke. "Yes, and that's not fair if you're going to wake up just in time for your movies."
"It's in my DNA. As soon as the Man of Steel is even mentioned, men naturally wake up. Who am I to fight nature?"
His voice grew less sleepy with every word, and I looked up to see him wide awake. "I'm calling shenanigans on this, Mr. Stone. I should put Bridget in again." Kissing me on the forehead, he whispered,
"Bridge is tired. You know how much that girl drinks. Let her sleep it off. We've got better things to do than hang out with her."
Like spending the next 2 hours with Superman? Tristan got that look on his face that he wore when he had sexier thoughts in mind. Pushing his hips off the couch, he slid his hands down my back to cup my ass.
"I think we can leave Superman for another time. Right now, I think we should go back to acting like we're still on our honeymoon."
I like that. Got anything specific in mind? He kissed me, lightly snaking his tongue into my mouth and making me want him right there in the media room. Unbuttoning the remaining buttons on his dress shirt, I slid my hand over his muscular torso, loving the feel of the taut muscles under my fingers. His body never failed to thrill me.
"I had planned on taking you in my arms to the bedroom, but on second thought, right here will do just fine,"
he said on a groan as he worked to slide my t-shirt over my head.
"Your clothes seem to be working against me tonight, though."
I sat up and wriggled out of my shirt and skirt, leaving me in my bra and panties. I wonder if Superman needs help to get his wife's clothes off, I joked. Tristan rolled his eyes as he pulled me back on top of him.
"Only if Lois Lane is wearing kryptonite underwear. But she wouldn't look as incredible as you do right now."
Straddling his hips, I sat up and unhooked my bra as he lightly teased his fingers along the waistband of my panties. Even if she didn't match like me? He licked his lips and stared at the path his fingers traced over the crease of my leg.
"I wouldn't care if you wore a burlap sack. You'd still be the most incredible woman on earth."
Looking up, he winked.
"Luckily, you're mine. Superman's going to have to find his own woman."
Pulling me down to lay on top of him, he hooked his thumbs on the sides of my panties and jerked them off my body. Hey, I like those panties. They weren't built to withstand the caveman thing. With a grunt, he slid out of his pants and boxer briefs.
"I'll get you a new pair. Now stop talking and let me show you what I was thinking about during my afternoon meeting."
He captured my mouth with his and kissed me hard, as if he'd missed the feel of my lips for weeks. Already rock hard, it only took a slight tilting of his hips and he was pushing into me. My body craved his, craved the feel of him inside me, touching parts of me that only he knew how to excite. An expert at knowing exactly how to make my body sing, he stroked into me slowly, like the sensation of each inch of his cock entering me was something to be relished and appreciated. Even now, after we'd known each other as intimately as any two people could for over a year. My fingers pressed into the back of his neck as I clung to him, loving the feel of our bodies joining as much as I had the first time we made love. Whatever exhaustion I'd felt just hours before was gone, replaced by a renewed need for that wonderful feeling being with him created in me. Tristan cradled my face and grimaced sweetly as he stopped, filling me completely.
"God, Nina, I wasn't sure we'd ever find our way to this place we're at now."
His eyes were so full of emotion, I wondered if there was something wrong, something bad he had to tell me. I waited, my body clinging to his as he stared up at me, each second ticking by making me sure there was something wrong. "Tristan, is everything okay?" With a smile that made every worry I had fade away, he said,
"Everything's perfect."
He said nothing more as we continued to make love, and as he took my body to that place only he could, I closed my eyes and thanked God for my husband. As he came, he held me tightly and kissed me, whispering how much he loved me. "Promise me we'll never turn into people who forget why they got married?" I asked, loving moments like this. "I never want this to end."
"I promise," he whispered into my hair. "No matter what, we'll be the people we are right now,
His heartbeat slowly returned to its normal rhythm as I rested my head on his chest. His strong arms wrapped around me, protecting me as his promise eased my soul. No matter what, I hoped we'd always be the people we were at that moment. Hours later, as he slept quietly next to me in bed, I sat awake, exhausted yet unable to sleep because of the fears that had settled into my mind. Something was wrong with me. I knew it. I needed to see a doctor and face whatever this was. Tristan left for work early, and I pushed away my fear to call for a doctor's appointment. As if fate knew I'd be on the edge until I find out what was making me sick, I was lucky enough to get one that afternoon. Hopefully, I'd find out all my fears were for nothing. Hopefully. Chapter 2. Nina. Dr. Anshin's waiting room teemed with people, all of us struggling to find something to read to avoid making small talk as we sat there stressed about whatever sickness we each had. A dog-eared copy of Marie Claire was all that was left on the table in front of me, so I picked it up and pretended to read about the best hairstyles for last year's holiday season, all the while unable to concentrate on anything but the fear that what was wrong with me was what took my mother from me all those years ago. I had so many things I wanted to do. After all Tristan and I had endured to be together, I'd hoped we'd have a child, or even a house full of children. Ever since he told me about his dream of those twin girls, our twin girls, I'd hoped that we'd be blessed. But every month my period came just as it always had, since I was 14. And every month I consoled myself with the idea that there was no need to hurry, that we had our whole lives to look forward to, and of course, we'd have children eventually. Now I worried that our time had already been cut short, and we'd never have a family. Just the thought of everything being taken away from me brought me to tears. But as I sat there in that waiting room, with others wearing the same look of concern, I had to remind myself that all this was just speculation. I could just need a B12 shot, or I might need to get more exercise. I had gained a few pounds since we returned from Europe, so that might be it. Feeling better for the moment, I looked around at the waiting room's decor. On the pale teal-blue walls hung pictures of nature scenes, each one focusing on an exotic location. The one closest to where I sat looked to be a tropical setting, and the artist had chosen iridescent blues and greens for the water lapping up on the beach. It consumed my thoughts for a few minutes as I fantasized about us taking our next vacation to an island just like it. And then I was back to worrying. "Nina Stone?" a voice called out, and I looked to my left to see Dr. Anshan's nurse, Jaina, smiling at me. I stood, and as we walked back to the examination room, we made small talk, mostly about my name change, which she had read about in the paper. No matter how low-key Tristan and I had tried to make our wedding, it had ended up on page 6, minus any pictures, of course. Jaina pointed at the scale in the room. "Let's see how much you weigh, Nina." I removed my shoes, hoping to shave off any extra pounds I could. It was no use. I knew I'd gained some weight. My clothes told me every morning. I just didn't know how much. 135. Okay. Hop up on the table and let's get your pressure and temperature. As the evidence of my brand new 10 pounds resonated in my mind, I took my seat on the paper-covered examination table, and Jaina attached the blood pressure cuff to my right bicep. My arm felt like it was going to explode, but I was preoccupied with my weight gain. 10 pounds would certainly explain my feeling run down. Dragging around extra weight like that would tire anyone out. It was salads for me from now on. Jaina told me my blood pressure and temperature, but I didn't pay attention. I was too busy feeling relieved. this wasn't going to be so bad after all. The door opened and Dr. Anshin came in, her bright smile easing any leftover concerns that still plagued me. I'd seen her since I'd first moved to Brooklyn, and every time her warm smile had made me feel better. A petite woman with dark brown hair and brown eyes, she was beautiful in an unconventional way, since her eyes were too small for her face, but that smile of hers made up for that slight imperfection. "Mrs. Nina Stone, I presume?" she teased in a sweet voice. "Jana told me she saw the write-up about your wedding to none other than Tristan Stone himself, Nina. She didn't show me a picture, though." A blush warmed my cheeks. Lowering my head, I couldn't help but smile. We tried to keep it small, but everything about Tristan seems to attract the attention of the gossip pages. "From now on, you should expect that everything you do will cause them to wag their tongues too, Nina," Jana said from the chair next to me. She wasn't wrong. I knew all too well that the paparazzi would be all over me visiting a doctor, so my 2 new bodyguards had made sure no one saw me, and I'd even gone in the back door to the building, just to make sure. It all seemed ridiculous to me, but what did I know? I didn't care one bit about anyone's doctor appointments but mine. "Yeah, well, I'm just me. There's nothing interesting to report on me, so they can stick to writing about real celebrities." Dr. Anshin sat down in front of me on her rolling stool and looked up. "So, what are you here for today?" All of a sudden, everything I'd worried about flooded back into my mind, and I choked up as I tried to explain what I'd been feeling. "I'm sure it's nothing. I mean, now that I know I've packed on a few pounds, I'm sure it's that." "Just tell me what's going on and we'll figure it out," Dr. Anshin said in her comforting voice. I took a deep breath and let it out slowly, allowing my shoulders to sag as I tried to relax. "I'm tired all the time. No matter how much sleep I get, I'm exhausted. As you see on my chart, I've gained 10 pounds. I know I probably shouldn't have, but I went online to try to find out what's going on with me. And other than being relatively sure I don't have the plague, I don't know what's wrong." Just saying it brought me more relief than I thought possible. Dr. Anshin nodded and asked, "Are you pregnant? It sounds like the early months of pregnancy." I shook my head and frowned. "No, I haven't missed a period, so we can rule that out." She stood up and patted me on the shoulder. "Well, I think I know what you're worried about, and while I can't say for sure it's not what your mother had, I can say let's get some blood and see what's going on, so we can get you back to feeling on top of the world. Just like a newlywed should, okay?" "Okay, sounds good." She scribbled something on my chart and turned to speak to Jana. "Please escort Nina to the lab. Tell them I want these back ASAP." Dr. Anshin turned back to face me. "Don't worry about my putting a rush on these tests. It's just that I don't want to see you worried any longer than you have to be. Give me a couple of days and I'll give you a call when I find anything out. Until then, go home and enjoy that new husband of yours, okay?" I nodded, thankful for her kind gesture and for making sure we found out what was going on as soon as possible. As I left with Jana to head down to the lab, I hoped what she found out was something simple, and not the one thing that would put an end to all my dreams and happiness. Jordan stood next to me holding up a shirt in front of her. "Is it me?" I examined the floral pattern next to her face and shook my head. "It's a little hippie for you, isn't it?" Shrugging, she hung the shirt back on the rack. "I don't know. I thought maybe I should find a new style, but you're right. I'm not a flashback kind of chick." "Why do you need a new style? I like this, Jordan." She frowned slightly and shrugged again. "I don't know. I just figured maybe I should change something up. You know, since Gage is out in LA with all those beautiful people, I thought maybe I should change things up a bit." I smoothed her long blonde hair away from her face and shook my head. "He's only gone for a little while, Jordan. That doesn't mean he's going to get all Hollywood on you. He liked you like this. Why would you think you should change? I don't know, just feeling insecure, I guess. I'm so very, New York. But what if he wants a sunny California girlfriend instead? First of all, you do remember who we're talking about, right? He's more down to earth than any man I know. Second of all, you being New York is exactly what makes you so fantastic. This is the greatest city in the world, and you are its finest example of that greatness. You're gorgeous, smart, and genuine. No one talks the talk and walks the walk like you do. Don't change anything. You hear me? Nodding, she forced a smile. Got it. Thanks for keeping me on the straight and narrow, Nina. I guess I was just feeling a little worried about all those stunning actresses he's probably seeing every day and night out there. He's got a stunning elementary school teacher right here, so who cares about those starlets? He wouldn't like them anyway, Jordan. More likely, he's simply doing his silent as a statue thing while he guards that kid Tristan got him set up with. It's just for a few months, and then Mr. Teen Superstar will be done with his movie. And back here, and Gage will be back with you. You're right. Forget a new style. I knew what was bothering her. Gage had dated an actress before he came to work for me, but that was then. Now he had my beautiful best friend in his life. That phony grin tells me all I need to know. You're worried about him meeting someone out there, aren't you? Not just someone. Her. You told me he seemed pretty sad about her when he told you about them. What if he's not over her? Whipping out my phone, I Googled Angela Macaron. At the bottom of the first page of search results, I found what I was looking for. Turning my phone toward Jordan, I pointed at the screen. There, no worries, even though you shouldn't have any. She leaned in and squinted at the screen. Actress Angela Macaron on location in Paris with her husband. Looking up at me, Jordan smiled. Well, I guess that's that. I pulled my phone back and shut off the screen, so no more talk of her with Gage, and forget about any of those other starlets. Got it? Grabbing another shirt from the rack near us, Jordan saluted me. Got it, Sarge. Good. Now let's get out of here and get some lunch. There's a salad with my name on it. Jordan began chastising me about my weight obsession, but my phone rang, saving me from her lecture. Looking down at the screen, I saw it was Dr. Anshin's office. Hang on, I have to take this. Turning away, I swiped to answer the call and pressed the phone to my ear. My heart raced as every worry I'd worked so hard to conceal came rushing to the surface. Hello? Nina, it's Jaina from Dr. Anshin's office. She wanted me to call you to let you know you have nothing to worry about. The tests came back. You're pregnant. All of a sudden, the world seemed to come to a dead stop. Pregnant? That was impossible. I hadn't missed a period. How could this be? Jaina, is the doctor sure? I haven't missed a month. Dr. Anshin was surprised too, since she remembered you saying that, but that's why she wants you to get checked out immediately. She had me make an appointment for you at a specialist OBGYN who handles high-risk pregnancies. Don't worry, though. It's not that she's convinced anything's wrong, but the fact that you haven't missed your period and the test still shows you're pregnant means this is a unique case. You have an appointment with Dr. Michelson this Monday at 11. If you need anything between now and then, don't hesitate to call, okay? And congratulations! I mumbled my stunned thanks and pressed end on my phone. The store felt like it was swimming around me, so I grabbed onto the clothes rack and shook my head to clear out the confusion. Pregnant? Tristan and I were going to have a baby. Nina, what's wrong? Who was that on the phone? The doctor. She found out why I've been so tired lately. A look of pure terror crossed Jordan's features, and she grabbed a hold of my shoulders. It doesn't matter what she said. Tristan's not going to take the word of just one doctor. You've got enough money to fly around the world and find a cure for whatever it is. but I can tell by your face that it's bad.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?